Coming up on Now See This. When a car thief plays dirty, it doesn't always make for a clean getaway. Speeding through some rocky rapids leaves 3 men up the creek without a paddle. And an iguana hung up near some phone lines ends up falling long distance. It's the unexpected, the unprotected, and getting ejected. Think you've seen it all? Now see this. The people driving through this railway crossing may not realize it, but this train is actually moving at 40 miles per hour. At that speed, it'll cross 2 football fields in 10 seconds and will take more than a mile to stop. Every year, thousands of Americans make the same serious mistake, thinking an oncoming train is moving so slowly that they can cross the tracks before it hits them. And every year, hundreds die trying. No one knows that better than Lars Eikens, a train enthusiast from Lombard, Illinois. Lars spends much of his free time videotaping the great variety of trains that pass through his hometown, preserving a bit of railroad history.
It's a hobby. I like to see rare engine numbers, stuff that might be lost if not, filmed.
But Lars has captured more than just engine numbers with his video camera. He's recorded literally hundreds of near misses at the many railroad crossings in and around DuPage County.
I've been out here for 20 years, and you wouldn't believe the things I've seen being around the railroad, the things that people have done. It's just unbelievable.
His collection is a chronicle of impatient people flirting with disaster.
And people walking, playing chicken with the train on foot. I mean, all it takes is one trip.
Everyone thinks they can beat the train across the tracks. Motorcycles, cars, trucks, even school buses brave the oncoming trains. Some drivers, regardless of road conditions, will actually drive around a closed crossing gate just to beat an approaching train. Lars has collected and edited together many close calls, but he never actually recorded an impact.
I've seen this one truck pull up, and he pulls across the intersection, the train's screaming his horns out, and then he starts backing the thing up. You know, like, why would he even pull out there in the first place?
Lars's tape of near misses had no ending until he placed his camera here, at the corner of North Avenue in the nearby town of Villa Park. Remember this train? The one going 40 miles per hour? Watch what happens when a tractor-trailer rig pulls onto the tracks just as the crossing gates come down.
I was just doing what I normally do, and this time a truck pulled in front of the train and it actually got hit. The moment of impact was so loud I was deaf for 2 days.
The driver of the truck, 29-year-old Frederick Johnson of Memphis, Tennessee, misjudges the length of his trailer as he attempts to get across the intersection.
The truck could not clear the crossing because there was too much traffic in front of it. The split second started going by and I realized it's going to get hit, especially when I saw the engineers duck underneath the console.
Fortunately, no one is killed in the wreck, though several people are seriously injured and 5 cars are destroyed when the truck is pushed into them.
Several cars were flip-flopping over each other like turtles. It was actually an incredible sight, quite a shocker.
After decades of recording near misses, Lars's video of the collision was the grand finale he'd been waiting for.
My immediate reaction was, I've been filming trains for 20 years, and finally I got one that actually hit to finish the near-miss tape.
It's an ending with a very simple message.
Obey those red lights that flash on the tracks. They really do mean something. If you like your children or you like your life, don't go through them, because if you go outside of them, you never know what could happen. It could end your life.
Like moths to a flame, race car drivers are forever drawn to the excitement of the track. For Matthew Wackerly, the thrill is addicting.
I love the adrenaline rush you get. It's a high that no drug can give you.
But the flip side is a low that can kill you. At the Tri-City Motor Speedway in Auburn, Michigan, 13 drivers quickly get up to speed as the green flag drops. 6 cars back on the inside is Matthew, savoring the excitement and hoping to make a break from the pack. He's about to do just that, in the most horrifying way possible. It's an unthinkably terrible accident. Less than half a lap into the race, Matthew's car gets hit. It rolls 3 times and throws his helpless body 30 feet through the air.
The crash started when we got bunched up and I got a little bit sideways with the car and another car tried to drive underneath me. When the car rolled, the last thing I remember is the asphalt coming up at the windshield. The only thing I can say about the landing is you see it on the videotape and I don't know what happened from there. When you look at the tape, that's what it looks like. It's a ragdoll flying through the air.
Ironically, these cars known as bombers are not allowed to have windows for safety reasons. But in the violent crash, Matthew's seatbelt actually tears away from its weld, and he is ejected through his empty window. Matthew lands directly under a car that skidded out.
He had no idea that I had slid underneath his car. So when I did, he drove away, actually driving over me. A lot of people were pretty shocked about that.
The race is immediately stopped. It's a double dose of calamity, which leaves him in critical condition. Because his back is broken and he has a concussion, a medevac unit will have to fly him to intensive care. But before he goes, his brother, also an EMT, is called from home to be at Matthew's side.
When I was down by the helicopter, my brother come up, and the first thing I asked him was whether or not I was going to live, because I knew that I was hurt, and he told me I was going to live.
But despite Matthew's incredible recovery, a different story reaches the media.
It was on the local news that I didn't make it, and when I come back to the racetrack for the first time, there was a lot of people shocked. A lot of people clapped their hands and cheered for me, which was pretty cool.
Matthew Wackerly could understand how the media got the story wrong, especially when he finally saw the video of that day.
I actually sat down and it took my breath away. I couldn't believe that I made through it with the minor injuries that I had had. I considered myself pretty lucky.
The way some kids act, it's a wonder they ever make it to adulthood. An officer is racing to respond to a 911 call that came in just moments ago.
City Police, what's your emergency?
Yes, there's some guys that parked in my driveway over here, and they're in the auto auction right now.
Earlier this rainy evening, a 16-year-old juvenile and his 14-year-old buddy decided to go used car shoplifting in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
And how many guys are there?
There was 2 of them that come out of this truck here.
A concerned neighbor phoned police, who were soon on their way to pull the plug on this late-night stealing spree.
Okay, we got cars here. I'm going to go ahead and hang up. If you see anything else, give me a call back.
Yeah, he's running off now. They're running.
Other units quickly nabbed the younger crook at the scene of the crime. The 16-year-old was able to slip away, in this stolen sport utility vehicle now being pursued.
Okay, got one going in a red Explorer on plank. On plank. Red Explorer. That's stolen vehicle, I believe.
The kid is barely old enough to drive. Now he's attempting to outrun police while handling the bulky truck as though it were a sports car. The heavy rain makes the situation even more dangerous as the SUV slips and slides through a muddy clearing.
In pursuit.
Mud splatters across Officer Greg Sumler's windshield, but he carries on, determined to stay with the suspect.
Okay, he's going through the field here, right here towards Highland Park.
With every hit of the gas and turn of the wheel, this juvenile is proving to police that he's a far more formidable criminal than just an auto thief.
All right, bring up when you get on Highland. He's going to come to the dead end here on Birchwood.
The SUV kicks up more mud onto Officer Sumler's cruiser, totally blocking his field of vision. Sumler keeps on driving, but he's driving blind. For nearly a full minute, the officer tries following the suspect's taillights, peering through any slit in the mud he can find. Finally, the rain that's causing these hazardous conditions helps wash away the muck. Officers get ahead of the chase, hoping to send the kid a message, but he sends one of his own.
He's going around me, he's going around me.
The suspect is proving to be every bit as dangerous as an adult, and if necessary, police will use adult force to stop him. The suspect turns onto a narrow street and spins out of control.
Okay, we are now. He's off.
This is the officer's chance. They box him in, but the suspect guns it straight towards them. They open fire.
There, unit, shots fired.
An officer on foot is in the truck's crosshairs, a target of this 2-ton lethal weapon.
Had shots fired up here. Contact 300 units.
Temple.
When the suspect finally gives up, officers can't help but wonder how a 16-year-old kid got into such a mess in the first place.
Yeah, he's running off now. I think he's seen him.
Okay, we got cars here.
But whether his flagrant defiance of police was pure audacity,
He's going around me, he's going around me.
or if he was just a desperate kid who wanted to stay out of jail, this kid ended up spending the night in the hospital, recovering from 4 gunshot wounds. Police regret using lethal force, especially on a minor. But that's what it took for this kid to learn the consequences of his adult actions.
Had shots fired up here.
Temple.
This is not a test. In Montevideo, Uruguay, a disturbed man storms a TV station with an urgent message for the staff. Help me, or watch me die. Father of 5, Julio Fagundes, is despondent over the recent loss of his job, and he's written a letter asking the president of Uruguay to help his family. Now he threatens to put a knife in his heart if the TV crew doesn't let him read his note on the air. Reporter Adriana Rivas tries to talk Julio out of doing anything drastic, but in his fragile emotional state, it's clear the best thing to do right now is to give him what he wants.
Julio, ¿qué son estas cartas que tenemos acá?
Para mis hijos, para mi señora,
Sí,
para el presidente.
sí.
Y yo quiero leer esto.
With the blade still pressed to his chest, he gets ready to read. But as the camera moves in, the nervous man backs away.
No, si seguís subiendo, se nos va el foco, no te muevas más.
Pero ponete lejos.
Pero se nos va el foco. Lee la-
Rivas finally placates Fagundes as he begins reading.
Al intendente San José, que no se olvide de Rincón de la Bolsa existe, que hay más de 30.000 personas. Y en Playa Pascual hay un liceo.
But Julio's statement is not actually being broadcast, and this isn't just any news crew. Police and security guards dogpile Fagundes as he struggles to plunge the knife into his chest. Luckily, he's overpowered before he can succeed in his plan. But as police lead the man away, his bloody shirt shows just how close he came to achieving his grief-stricken goal. Julio Fagundes came to the TV station to ask for help and to end his life. Thankfully, he only gets half of his wish, the help. He's currently undergoing psychiatric treatment. As for the TV crew, they're relieved that after this horrifying production break, they can peacefully return to their regularly scheduled program. They soar. They speed. They crush. Extreme machines are built to compete on every surface of the Earth. We marvel at these horsepower heavyweights. But when they don't perform the way their drivers intended, the results can be more than frustrating. They can be downright deadly. Snowcross takes snowmobile racing to radical new heights. With their 500-pound bodies and their 200-horsepower engines, these sleds on steroids are more sports car than snowmobile, and just as dangerous when they go out of control. In Iceland, where snowcross is like NASCAR, Lexi Kerrison is the Dale Earnhardt of the sport. He shreds courses and competitors alike. But one day, he almost lost everything. Trying to restart his stalled engine after a bad landing on a blind hill, catastrophe strikes. At 50 miles an hour, a competitor plows into him, breaking 3 ribs. But 2 weeks later, Lexi is back on the track, taking the checkered flag. For him, accidents are just another part of being in an extreme sport. But sometimes it's the spectators who are most at risk. At an indoor monster truck rally in Orlando, Florida, the crowd goes wild for the car-crunching displays of the 4x4 behemoths. With 5-foot-tall tires that can weigh as much as 1,000 pounds each, these trucks are so massive, they barely fit through the entrance to the arena. When these giants spring into action, people wisely stand back. But if your back is already against a wall, you could be out of luck. It's a horrifying sight as a man gets crushed. Because the driver is sitting so high, he never even sees the bystander. The other man runs for his life as a witness frantically tries to get people's attention. The oblivious driver continues on his way, and the crowd never suspects a thing. Unbelievably, while the paramedics treat the man, the show goes on as usual. The man is battered, but he'll live. A minute after he's taken to the emergency room, the truck that hit him is wowing the fans like nothing happened. When one of these high-powered machines gets into an accident, everybody knows it. These are hot boats, capable of hitting 120 miles an hour on water. Today, 30 of them are on Idaho's Salmon River, on the first leg of a 70-mile race. The spectators have gathered at the most challenging section, the rapids. Most 3-person crews steer clear of the rockiest channel of whitewater. But one doesn't. And the crowd sees nothing but danger ahead. At 60 miles an hour, Hank Gosnell, Bob Bergeron, and Doug Lilly hit a rock, which launches them. They slam into another rock and stall. Hank's frustration is obvious. But what was merely disappointment quickly becomes life-threatening. The boat instantly takes on water, and each man is suddenly at the mercy of the rapids.
Why in the hell is that goddamn safety boat? Excuse my French.
The men tumble helplessly downstream in an icy current as their once powerful boat is dashed on the rocks. Doug Lilly appears unconscious, and the cameraman shouts in vain to be heard above the roar of the river.
That guy that right there.
He's hurt! Get that guy out, damn it!
Watch the boat. Watch the boat. There she goes. It might
The
float.
3,000-pound boat threatens to roll onto anyone in its way. And right now, it's headed toward Doug.
Wonder if they've got an EMT down there.
Right? No, they should have.
A rescue boat races onto the scene, just in time to keep them from serious harm. On the other hand, their $80,000 boat is now scrap. With all their power, with all their strength, extreme machines can be a thrill if we can just keep them under control. No matter how strong the bond between pet and its owner, sometimes an animal hears the call of the wild and must obey.
Some lady knocked on my door a while ago and said, "Hey, do you own an iguana?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's on top of a telephone pole, and I said, "Oh boy."
Lizzie the lizard, an immature iguana belonging to Gene Yulesvens of St. Louis, Missouri, does what comes naturally when faced with an unexpected freedom.
And every year we get a couple of calls like this where they get away from somebody, and it's their nature, it's a defensive nature for them to climb as high as they can.
Lizzie isn't exactly the kind to come down when called, so they go to her with a 20-foot pole. She falls snugly into a blanket held by helpful neighbors. Moments later, the recalcitrant reptile is returned to her rightful owner.
Yeah, everybody coming out helping. I appreciate it, guys. Hey, thanks.
What about Amber and Yui?
Next time, Gene will make sure Lizzie the leaping lizard is properly locked up.
She's gonna break that hold.
This slithering star of Rourke's Reptile Safari, a 22-foot reticulated python, was being moved to her new home at the South Carolina Aquarium in Charleston. Problem is, now that it's time to move into her new digs, she doesn't want to go.
Come on, heads up. Up, no. Where's the hat? Where's the hat? It's under the van. Don't let her. Oh, God. Well, shit, we never got. Okay, let her go. Let her go. Let her go.
Rourke Ferguson, a herpetologist and owner of the python, knows that recapturing a big snake on the loose is no walk in the park, especially one that's wrapped around the rear axle of a van.
She ain't coming out. She goes up under that body. We're going to have real major problems. Gotta have.
It turns out the van has no good hiding holes for a 230-pound python. So the snake decides to make a break for it. Rourke tries to avoid the python's mouthful of razor-sharp teeth, designed to grab prey and hold on tight. But when Rourke attempts to corral her, she turns on him.
Whoa, whoa, get back. Let her grab you. Where's the white box at? Bring the white box up here. Oh, no, you don't.
Even the cameraman thinks twice about getting too close to those great jaws. Finally, Rourke and the aquarium crew managed to round up the python, which they later named Pandora, and put her back in her box. This time, they strapped the lid on tight. Pandora's new home may not be python paradise, but it's better than having this colossal constrictor crawling around loose in the neighborhood.
Animal this size could eat somebody easily, overpower them and consume them.
But while some animals are natural escape artists, others can't get out of a jam even when their life depends on it. This Indonesian oil tanker was passing 220 miles south of Hawaii when a fire broke out in its engine room, completely ravaging the ship. Fortunately, the crew was rescued. That is, all but one. Left behind in the confusion was the captain's pet dog, a 2-year-old Jack Russell Terrier named Hoge. Nearly a month later, when news of the canine castaway finally hit the airwaves, the Hawaiian Humane Society received nearly $50,000 to rescue the marooned mutt. A Coast Guard search plane also got involved when they learned the oil-laden tanker was drifting towards a remote wildlife preserve known as Johnson Atoll. Videotape taken from the plane's camera shows a small white blip moving around on the decks of the tanker. The crew drops a supply canister for the dog, with their leftover pizza, granola bars, and a container of fresh water. As the tugboat prepares to haul the ship back to Hawaii, rescuers find the dog hiding in its bow. Hoge, whose name means good fortune in a Chinese dialect, is hungry and sunburned on her nose, but otherwise unharmed. Back in Honolulu, a throng of well-wishers and reporters greets Hoge's arrival. Among them, a number of animal lovers who volunteer to adopt the death-defying dog. Ironically, after spending nearly a month alone at sea, the little dog is required by Hawaiian law to serve 4 months in quarantine to make certain she has no infectious diseases. But at last report, Hoge is happy, healthy, and living with her new Hawaiian family in this tropical paradise. Not bad for a dog once given up for dead. So if you love your pet, take good care of it and keep a close watch.
Oh, God!
Because it doesn't matter if they slither or scamper, have scales or fur. Now and then, they just love to take a walk on the wild side.